Hello, everyone. So, I thought today to be good to have a conversation around the question of what do you see? And this is really an articulation of the conversation about vision and about purpose. So, without fail, every year, for most people, there's something that begins to happen, and this is traditionally between June, July, about mid year, and again towards the end of the year. Sometimes there's the third time, which is when a birthday is approaching. And people begin to get the sense of, oh my gosh, what have I done with the first half of the year? Or towards the end of the year, that sense of, oh my gosh, what have I done with this year? And then when it comes to significant birthdays, especially like mine is going to be, there is that question of where have the decades gone and what are the things I've achieved? And, for some people, it's a time when they begin to get sad, they begin to get anxious. Some people get downright depressed because they're comparing with other people or maybe even just with themselves, the things that they thought they should have been able to do, by that time in their lives. And that used to be me, quite frankly. But I came to a realization many years back, by the grace of God, that God does not mark our lives by this January to December calendars that you and I tend to do. Listen. If I'm going to live to be 70, if I'm going to live to be 80, that's my 100%. But for some other person, they may live to be 100. Some other person might only live to be 45. So God is really literally not counting January to December for us. And that's one of the ways to, keep that perspective that gives you a bit of a, rest of mind. That said, it's important for us to take charge of this conversation around purpose. When you look at any area of people, any group of people in any community or in your own sphere of consciousness, what you're going to see is that there are different kinds of people. Many of them will be quite accomplished. There will be some that are successful to varying degrees. As the world calls success, there are some people that will be up and coming, and there's some people though that it looks like their lives are not really going anywhere. Some of them can't quite figure, it seems, whether they're moving forward, moving backwards, or perhaps standing still, and maybe that is you. There are some of us who are looking around and asking ourselves, why am I even here? Like, what is this day-to-day all about? There are many people who are simply just struggling to manage what I call the triple bottom line, which is your work, your family, and yourself. And this struggle for self is something that for many people is almost overwhelming. Self is so expansive, and yet in many cases it is so suppressed. There's our passions, there's our ministries, there's our personal dreams and aspirations, and there are really a great number of people who are walking around carrying a lot of weight that the outward appearances of their lives really belie. There's some people you think they're projecting this outward confidence, they are on point and all those things that we say. And you have no sense of what they're grappling with internally. There are so many people who have settled because for them there's a sense of it is what it is. I don't see what else my life can be. There are people who literally with every passing year have become increasingly bitter because it seems like life has just, kind of buffeted them. They've been hit with one thing or the other and they've come to the point where they're just really going through the motions. It's like, what else do you have? But you know what I'm sure is that whatever category you fall into, no matter how much you've done with your life or haven't done, there is something inside you that keeps giving you the message that you are supposed to be doing more, you're supposed to be more, you're supposed to deliver more, you're supposed to impact more. And I want to tell you today that those things talking to you, those aspirations you have, they are valid. Each of us, every single one, we have the capacity, we have the ability to evolve unique solutions in various areas. We have the capacity to create, and contribute results that can transform our own corner of the earth. And you see, I keep saying this, that transformational change is not the exclusive preserve of a select few. No, each of us in our personal capacity or in partnerships and with communities, with organizations, we are capable of doing remarkable things. You are. And it's not hard for us to somehow keep our focus on, some notable people we consider to be like game changers in our industry or in the world. And let me just give a caveat, not game changer in the traditional sense. For me, a game changer is somebody who is successful by my definition of success. And success for me is not just about the wealth and the abundance of material possessions. It's not about the name and the fame, no matter how well deserved it is. No, success for me is about delivering on potential. Is potential for yourself, yes, but more so potential that benefits someone else. So you're making impact on the world, right? Success for me is about achieving the kind of life that is constantly adding value to other people, and then you're fulfilled in your daily work. You're able to apply your gifts, your talents, your abilities in a productive manner, a manner that glorifies God, a manner that blesses people, and of course in the process you have a great life, have a great family and all that. So when I'm talking about game changers, this is the perspective I'm talking of. Those are I don't need to call names, because I believe that when you look at it through those lenses, there are literally multitudes of people who are game changers, but their names are not necessarily known because, they're not being noised about, but they're making transformational change in their own corner of the earth. And so my question to you today first, because like I said, it's the conversation around vision and around purpose. The question is, what do you see? When you look in the mirror, when you look at yourself, when you look at your life, what do you see? Do you just see you, or do you see you as, I like to think of myself as an embodiment of transformational potential and capacity that is just looking for outlets to be released? What do you see? I know when you talk about potential, that's such an interesting word. Potential speaks to like a hidden treasure within each and every one of us. Potential is your dormant ability. It is your undiscovered, untapped power. Potential is strength you haven't yet used, maybe because you don't know that you have it. And this is why on a daily, consistent basis, your more and your greater keeps calling out to you. That's really what it is. So again, I ask you, when you think about your life, what is the future that you see? You know what? Each of us has arrived where we are. We've achieved what we've achieved because in one form or the other, we've been able to apply our potential productively at various levels, sure. But when you feel that call to more, it's because it is time to up-level. There's a book I want to recommend that you read. It's called Visioneering by Andy Stanley. Fabulous book, Visioneering by Andy Stanley. I love it. There's something he said in that book. He said, everyone ends up somewhere in life. A few people will end up somewhere on purpose. Listen, we are not just supposed to allow life happen to us. We actually have something. We have power. We have the authority. We have the capacity to take charge of a few things and just come out with different outcomes, great outcomes, I dare say. So Andy Stanley, in his book, he defined visioneering, which he says is the course that one follows to make their dreams a reality. And remember, I said your dreams, your aspirations, they are valid. Even when you don't have like a very defined outlook for your dreams. Some people can't see anything specific, but they know there's something. So visioneering, he says, is the course that allows you to follow that course to make those dreams, those aspirations into a kind of reality. And he defined it as a mixture of 5 things. He said, visioneering is inspiration, plus conviction, plus action, plus determination, plus completion. I'll take that again. Visioneering is inspiration, plus conviction, plus action, plus determination, plus completion. What is inspiring you? Who is inspiring you? There must be something that you look up to. There must be someone, some people that you look up to. There must be some projects that spark something inside you. If your outlook is totally negative, every time you look at someone, it's just something to bring them down or what they're not doing right or what they could have done better, then there is a need for a shift in perspective. There have to be people you look at and something about them speaks to the fact that, wow, if they're doing this, I can do this too. If they can make this kind of change, I can make this kind of change. There have to be people you look up to, and if you don't have those kind of people, I promise you, you're in the wrong circles. You need to go into new circles, new networks. You need to begin to read different kinds of books about the lives of people and the things they've done. Reading is fabulous for your mind and your outlook on life. Inspiration. How can you see when nothing inspires you? But when you're inspired, and you believe that you have the potential, then nothing is impossible for you to at least visualize. And then he says, plus conviction. So there's the inspiration, the sense that, yes, I can do this. I can do more. And then there's the conviction. That conviction is critical. That conviction is what tells you are able to tell yourself and sell to yourself that there is nothing different between me and that next person. They don't have two heads. They're not necessarily smarter. They've worked hard as well. If they've applied themselves, perhaps there are principles I can take from them and put into my own journey and see the same kind of success and be convinced that if you make the effort, something will shift. If you are not convinced that these successes you see, these game-changing type people you see can be you, you can be as inspired as you want, but nothing will change if you don't have the conviction that that can be you. And of course, the next thing he says is action. Because we can't just stay in this ooh la la land of, oh yes, I can, I am. We have to do something. And action is a difficult place. Action takes us out of our comfort zones. Action needs us to sometimes change our circles, try to meet new people. Action means that sometimes we're going to be looked down on, we'll be talked down to, we're going to get no's, we have doors slammed in our faces, we will face disappointments. But action means we're moving, and for every failure, every no, it means that we're closer to the yes. We have to take action if we're going to get away from the place of the conceptualization of the possibility to its reality. The next thing then is the determination. And determination is critical because I promise you, on the journey of success, nothing is easy. No one, well, maybe a few people, I don't know, but most of us have not had it easy. We've faced many hard knocks along the way, and we're still facing them. We've dealt with all kinds of things. We've fought all kinds of battles that sometimes when you see that, finished or near finished product and the shine and the name is in the limelights and the followers are there and the platforms are there, you really literally don't know what people are journeying through, even at that point in time. So you have to be determined, you have to be tenacious, to be resilient and say to yourself, no matter what comes, because I know I have the potential to be so much more, to do so much more, to impact so many more lives, nothing is going to make me stop short of that aspiration. If you don't have this level of determination, when one or two things come your way, I promise you're going to go back into the place of, let me just stay as I was. I was better off before I started this journey. And the last thing is completion, he says, because we have to finish. You can't start and stop. On this journey, like I said, you're going to have some people dissuade you. The minute, we talked about using your voice, the fact that it matters. The minute you decide to step up and be more, all your naysayers are going to get louder, I promise you. And even for yourself, the negative voices in your head are going to get a bit louder. Along the journey, as you begin to make progress, every time you face an obstacle, you're going to hear, why don't you just give up? Every time you face a challenge, people are going to say to you, why did you start this in the first place? Every time it looked like you moved forward a bit and something came that made it look like there's a hurdle you can't pass, there will be a temptation to just stop and give up and say to yourself, at least I tried. And hey, let's be fair, at least I tried is not a bad place. Excuse me, it's not a bad place to be, coming from I wasn't doing anything at all. But the game changers are the finishers. Therefore, we must complete whatever else it takes. Listen, last time I said something to you. I said, you can never gain mastery from the sporadic. And when we talk about completion on a constant basis is what takes you to the level of mastery. So every time you initiate something, work hard, press in to make sure you finish. That's what takes you to the place of mastery. We're talking about what do you see for your life? What do you see? What's the future that you see? When you think about it, what's your vision? And what's the purpose? What's the thing that is calling at you? What's the thing that is driving you? And if you don't have clarity, let me encourage you, as I always do, take some time and have a personal retreat for yourself. We work, right? So we're used to doing strategy sessions, and maybe if we're not, we at least have heard about them. How about you have a personal strategy retreat? Ask yourself some big questions. Ask yourself, who are you? And I don't mean what do you do. Who are you? Ask yourself, what's my mission in life? What are my true priorities? What are my life aspirations? What value am I adding? Where am I in my relationship with God? What do I think He expects me to do? What are my core values really as a person, the one that I know for myself are my non-negotiables? Is there some negativity, or do I have a critical spirit? Am I negative in my outlook? Do I need to shift a few things in my mind? Am I comfortable in my space, or do I need a bigger circle? Ask yourself these things. Are my expectations realistic? And why should I stay on the platform of realism? How much more aggressive can I be about the big, bold things I can do? What are my measures of success? Who do I have in my networks? What's the best version of me? What does that look like? I think when you ask yourself all these questions and you come back to the place of taking that formula of visioneering, probably you'll see that you are in a better place. You have a better outlook for your life. I repeat, visioneering, this is the inspiration backed by conviction, an action, a determination, and of course completion. A personal strategy retreat to just give you a better sense of your life and what it's supposed to mean to you, what it means to God, and what it can then mean to other people if you step up to the platform of your greater self. I hope this has been useful to you. Try to have this time out with yourself. Next time I come back, I'm going to be talking about this same question of purpose. This question about what is my purpose? How do I find it? But for now, it's just me encouraging you to think about the vision, about the future that you see, and do the work to prepare your mind and your heart for the conversation we're going to have next time. God bless you.